In today's video, we're going to talk about how to stop feeling sleepy after you eat. And this is a problem that affects a lot of people trying to build muscle, especially because we're eating a lot of calories, eating a lot of proteins, fats, and carbs, and it slows you down. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why that happens and some things that are in your control and out of your control when we're trying to fix it. When you finish this video, you're going to walk away with a couple actionable steps that you can take to stop feeling so sleepy after you eat. Real quick, before we begin, just wanted to invite you to try out our new Lion's Mane Triple Extract. If you are struggling with brain fog and you want to unlock mental clarity the natural way, try out Lion's Mane mushrooms. They're an ancient tool been used for centuries by Buddhist monks to enhance their focus during meditation. And you should definitely try it out if you haven't already. So go to lionsmaneextracts.com, save that in your bookmark before you watch this video, and try it out. So let's dive in. First off, let's talk about why does it happen? Why do you feel sleepy? Why do you feel tired after you eat a big meal? Well, there's a couple things that are in your control and there's some things that are out of your control. So we'll talk about out of your control first. The main two out of your control reasons are one, postprandial somnolence, and two, orexin inhibition. Now, this fancy word here just means food coma. It means all the blood that's normally circulating through your brain and body is now directed into the intestines to help you digest the food. Now, this isn't the main reason why you feel sleepy, but it is a reason. More likely than not, the main culprit is going to be orexin inhibition. Orexin is a neuropeptide that regulates wakefulness in your brain and body. And when we eat our food, our insulin spikes, and that causes the orexin to plummet. Now, this goes for carbs, proteins, and fats. A lot of people talk about carbs being the main culprit of spiking your insulin, and that's true. Like, simple carbs definitely spike your insulin to a larger degree than proteins and fats, but proteins and fats spike it through indirect pathways. Protein spikes your insulin through the process of gluconeogenesis, which is basically converting proteins, amino acids into glucose. So that's going to spike your insulin as well. Same thing with fats. There's an indirect pathway that it also spikes your insulin. So everything that you eat, any form of calorie, is going to spike your insulin to some degree. So technically what this means is every calorie that you eat, any amount of food that you eat, will spike your insulin and plummet your orexin to some degree. So plummet your wakefulness. So it's natural. It's a natural part of our body's process to feel a little bit sleepy, or at least less wakeful than we did before we started eating. And that's why so many people talk about the mental clarity that they get from intermittent fasting, from skipping breakfast. But this has some drawbacks too, which we'll get into in a moment. Okay, so postprandial somnolence and the orexin inhibition are two biological processes that are going to go down regardless of what you try to do to stop them. So to some degree, you will get a little bit sleepy, but there are things that we do have in our control that are typically, we're not exercising our control. And those are the things that are going to be too many carbs with your meal. You're eating crappy food. You're eating too many calories in general. And fast carbs, simple carbs will cause a blood sugar spike, and you know that you're going to crash. Carbs boost serotonin, which converts to melatonin, and that can make you sleepy. That's another process that's going down when you eat too many bad foods, too many sugary things. Now, the other one that a lot of people miss is food intolerances. So a lot of people kind of brush this off and they're like, I don't have food allergies, or you might be aware that you do. But a lot of people don't really know how much they can affect your energy. As somebody who's got a lot of food intolerances, and especially in the past, I've corrected some of them, but you wouldn't believe the amount of energy that I realized that I had available to me when I simply avoided things that were triggering an immune response or just weren't digesting properly. To clear up some confusion around the topic, well, you can literally just go get a Viome gut test, which tests your gut microbiome, looks at the bacteria, and based on this data, they're able to tell you which foods you digest properly, which are your superfoods, which are your kryptonite, things you should absolutely avoid at all costs. And it eliminates all the confusion around which foods are good for you as an individual. And let's use this as a quick reminder that not all healthy foods are great for you. An example, kale, the miraculous vegetable that is apparently the best thing on earth for you, well, it's a cruciferous vegetable, meaning it contains goitrogens, which if you have thyroid issues, it's not going to be great for you. So kale smoothies, kale pressed juice, that stuff is going to be terrible for you if you're having thyroid issues. So, find out what is great for you based on a Viome test or blood test. There's a lot of way to do it. I recommend Viome. Now, the last reason why you're getting sleepy after eating, and then we'll move into how to combat it, is one that surprised me recently. Figured this one out. Intermittent fasting can lead to you getting more sleepy after eating. And the reason why is if you skip breakfast, then lunch is going to hit you harder. It's kind of common sense, but in looking into it further, I realized that you're more sensitive to insulin and you'll have a more intense blood sugar crash versus if you were eating breakfast or not skipping meals. So for example, if you're getting really sleepy after eating lunch and you're doing an intermittent fasting window where you skip breakfast, that could be the cause. And if you simply add in a high protein breakfast in the morning, you can blunt a bit of that mega crash that you experience that makes you so tired that you want to take a nap. Moving on to the moment we've all been waiting for, which is how to combat it. So these are some of the things that can reduce the intensity of the sleepiness, of that crash that you get after eating. But keep in mind, a little bit is always going to come because that's just our body's natural reaction to getting food into the system and digesting it. So these are the top things I've found. I use them on a daily basis. It's probably, I would say I have 3 times more energy than I used to. If before I was falling asleep, crashing, and literally had to take a nap no matter what, now I can skip naps most days. I'll only take them if I basically mess up and eat way too many calories, way too many carbs. So this is what I do, and number 1 is chromium. Chromium helps glucose to be utilized as an energy source as opposed to floating through your bloodstream and drop it rapidly, causing fatigue. The dosing I currently use is 1,000 micrograms before meals, and with all supplement recommendations, double check with your doctor, do your own research before you dive in. Now, this second one I actually find more impactful than any supplement that I've done, and this is taking a walk after each meal. And research suggests that taking a short walk after eating helps manage a person's blood glucose or blood sugar levels. This is counterintuitive because you want to rest and digest, but try it out for a week. It really works. One of my buddies out in San Diego, shout out Chris Sands, owns a biohacking facility, and he knows a lot about this stuff. Basically, we were eating lunch together one day and I started getting really tired, and he pointed out, he was like, I can see your energy's fading, so let's go take a walk. And my initial gut reaction was like, dude, no way, I'm about to food coma here. We took the walk, and within a couple minutes, all of a sudden I had so much energy, it was unbelievable. We were also walking in the sun, down by the beach, so obviously the sun gives you good energy as well. But try it out, seriously. If you give it a shot for a week and it doesn't impact you, you can come back and leave me a nasty comment. Next up, try removing carbs from your first meal of the day, whether you're intermittent fasting or simply eating breakfast like normal. When you stop giving yourself rapid spikes in your blood sugar, you'll stop crashing so hard. This goes for simple carbs as well as improperly digested complex carbs. Depending on the current state of your metabolism, your body, the way that you're absorbing nutrients, you might not be digesting any of your carbs properly. At a minimum, try removing the simple carbs, but you should also try removing carbs completely. Try it for a couple mornings, for a couple days. You'll be surprised with how much this can make a difference. Now, there are long-term benefits to this as well. If you regularly eat carbs that you don't tolerate well, let's say simple sugars, then your body releases cortisol all throughout the day. In a nutshell, cortisol is being released because as you spike your blood sugar and you get a rapid drop, cortisol production comes in to help re-spike your blood sugar to balance you out. When your body's consistently releasing cortisol, it's preparing for a stressful event. So over the long term, daily preparation for these small stresses results in your brain decreasing cortisol production. So it's basically getting all these false alarms all day long when you're spiking through too many carbs, the wrong carbs, and basically over time, it just decides to not produce its cortisol properly anymore. So you get fatigue because cortisol is a huge reason why we have energy in the first place. So you're gonna need the cortisol, you're gonna need a properly functioning cortisol secretion if you want to have energy, and every time you eat too many carbs with each meal, it screws up that whole process. So the long-term benefit of skipping the simple carbs with all of your meals, or at least avoiding them in some cases to reduce your carb count, is you will avoid this whole phenomenon of making your cortisol production get shot down in the toilet. Quick note for the bros out there trying to make some gains. Well, carbs are extremely anabolic, so you don't necessarily want to ditch the carbs as your first option here if you are trying to pack on a lot of muscle here. Now, I will say I've put on a ton of muscle on keto diets, on extremely low carb diets like the anabolic diet, and even protein sparing fat method, or whatever that thing's called, PSMF. You don't need carbs to build muscle, but you will grow muscle a lot quicker if you do have the carbs in there. So if you're trying to pack it on, then try some of the other things first before you drop the carbs. Next thing that'll help you is including a small amount of soluble fiber with each of your meals. Psyllium husk is my preferred method, and this can slow down the digestion of the carbs that you eat, so less of an impact on your blood sugar. Now, if you're having dirty, sugary things, that's not going to help you. But let's say you're eating some white rice and you need to slow it down a little bit. The psyllium husk can help. I take 1 or 2 grams with meals and it works great. Last up on how to stop feeling sleepy after you eat is a couple additional supplements that will support you. Now, Blood Sugar Breakthrough by Biooptimizers is the best blood sugar balancing blend that I've tried. My friend Matt Gallant owns the company, and he really puts a lot of care into these products. I tell you, he'll look at 40 different suppliers before he selects one based on quality. It's some excellent stuff. The blend is of chromium, biotin, alpha-R lipoic acid. There's several other things inside of it. And yeah, this is what I take. And the second one I've listed here is modafinil. And I don't actually recommend you use modafinil on a long-term basis, even short-term basis, without a doctor's guidance. But the thing about modafinil is it is a wakefulness promoting drug. Now, orexin neurons are activated after you take modafinil. So if you're in a break the glass emergency situation where you need to get shit done, modafinil is one of those things that can really bypass this whole response of, the orexin inhibition where you're getting sleepy after the meal. In cases where I've tried modafinil and I have no sleepiness after a meal, but I also have a lot of trouble sleeping. I made a video on modafinil if you want to check out the benefits and the side effects. It's a prescription drug, so just keep that in mind. And I'm not a huge fan of drugs. Now, what I am a fan of is natural solutions to brain fog, which is lion's mane mushroom extracts. I've been taking them for more than 5 years now. We grow our own. Our company makes extracts. It's the world's first triple Kangen extraction of the lion's mane mushroom. I take it every day. I've got it right here. If you want to try it out, get a bottle of your own. Go over to lionsmaneextracts.com so you can unlock mental clarity and eliminate brain fog. Hey, thanks for watching this video so much, and go ahead, share it, like it if you enjoyed the content so more people can see it. Thanks, and we'll talk soon.